Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. All right, so Joy Reid put on the Trump wig again. You know, she's got that Trump wig she wears. It's very strange. It looks like she went to the Party City Halloween store and bought the Donald Trump Halloween costume and is wearing the wig on MSNBC. But she did something which was really ill-advised. She went on social media and made a video talking about this in vitro fertilization ruling in Alabama. And what this, in vitro fertilization, it's what they used to call test tube babies. They don't call it test tube babies anymore because they don't want baby in the discussion of it. They want to act like it's not a baby. And what they've done in Alabama is they have said, under Alabama law, embryos are people. And what happens a lot of times, people go to these doctors, they get all these embryos done, and then they get divorced or someone dies.
Yeah, that's what's going on with Sofia Vergara.
Yeah, or something happens, and then all of a sudden they want all the embryos destroyed. And people don't like that, and it shouldn't be that way. It's an irresponsible thing to do, to get all these embryos and then have them on ice. Exactly right. The actress, she's going through this now. So for some reason, the Democrats have just had meltdowns over this Alabama law about the
what is the Alabama
babies.
law? What did they?
That embryos are babies. Embryos are people, so you just can't go in and
destroy them.
Yeah, I don't know what they do. Leave the freezer door open and let them thaw out and let them die. I don't know how they do it.
It's irresponsible for these embryo centers to just allow they're very expensive, and to allow them to just create these embryos. I'm not exactly sure how. I guess they take an egg from the woman and the sperm, and then they put them together and freeze it in like cryo freezing.
Yeah.
And then you'd put it in a surrogate. Is that how it works? I think it's irresponsible for these centers to just let people willy-nilly with tons of money create these embryos. But, Catholics believe life begins at conception. But is this a form of conception? No.
Yeah. Sure, no. You've done it, just doing it outside of the body.
You think so?
Yeah, sure. It's the test tube babies. They've done everything outside of the body.
So what do you think about it?
I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, people should not be creating all these baby embryos.
No, what do you think is the right thing to do?
Well, I don't know what you mean.
You said I think it's the right thing to do. What do you think is the right thing to do?
To say that embryos are people, they're babies, absolutely.
But don't you think that these centers should not be allowing people to make like Sofia Vergara? She made like 4 or 5. Yeah, 2 of them didn't work, and now she's got 2 or 3 left over,
and she's divorced from the guy, split from the guy.
That the guy gave them names, and he wants custody of these embryos.
I know it's
crazy. She's been fighting him for years on this.
Well, what happens is, this would be my guess, okay? Because these weirdo doctors that they get involved in all these weird things. These are private businesses. So when someone comes to them to do a test tube baby, okay, they don't want them to just get one. They want them to get as many as they can because they probably charge you per embryo, right?
So see how much it costs.
So, over $50,000. It's very expensive. It's a lot of money. So they want you to get as many embryos as you can because I'm sure they charge you by the embryo. So they have all these embryos that are going to be destroyed. It's irresponsible to say the least.
$15,000 per embryo, and then it costs $600 a year to store them.
And nobody gets just one embryo.
And here's the thing.
And by the way, Kathy, it's much more than that. That's a very discounted price.
Probably. Everything on Google's outdated.
Believe me, Sofia Vergara paid more than $15,000.
Well, she probably went to a high-end place.
Yeah.
But, okay, so say they have these embryos, right? So we'll use Sofia Vergara and her ex, Nick, whatever. Say they made 4 embryos, right? And then 2 of them didn't work. Well, maybe they lied to her and just told her that. Maybe they destroyed them on purpose to get her to buy more. I mean, what kind of regulation is over these embryos? You know what I'm saying? If they see a woman who's an actress, who's a millionaire, they could just, people are corrupt. They could just destroy those two and say, oh, they didn't work. Well, they didn't take, we need two more.
Well, what happens, though, is they have all these embryos stored in these freezers, and when they just destroy them. So anyway, Alabama said embryos are babies. Embryos are humans, which I agree with that, okay? And for some reason, Democrats around the country have made this over the last 3-4 days a major issue where they're having meltdowns over. So Joy Reid, she put on her Trump wig and she made a video that she put on social media, and she went on this insane, unhinged rant about the test tube baby embryo issue and Republicans.
Let me guess, it has something to do with white people.
Everything with her has something to do with everything she does has a racial component.
So just to give it context, like I said, an embryo is when you take the egg, because I Googled it, and the sperm, you put it together, you create, that's how a baby's made.
Correct.
Frozen embryos are stored and monitored at hospital facilities, usually a lab or commercial reproductive medical center. They can be safely preserved for 10 years and even longer.
Yeah.
So I'm Googling here. It says here they cryo-freeze them. They last 14 days or they'll die without being frozen. I mean, this to me is, I've heard of test tube babies. This has been around since the 70s. But I feel like that there's some irresponsibility going on here with this.
Oh, yeah.
And because there's so much money involved, they just go in and take an egg out of a woman and take sperm from a guy, which is not hard to get, and create these babies. And they're just sitting there in these test tubes. This is sickening to me.
And freezers.
I think there definitely needs to be some looking into these facilities that do this. I'm sorry, I agree with you that they're babies, that they are lives. I guess I always thought of conception as sex, but you're right. It's a form of creation.
Absolutely.
But this is not how God intended babies to be created, for sure. But science happens. This just makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, how many of these test tube babies are around in this country?
Millions. I would imagine millions. Because they've been doing this for decades.
So these are lives that are not being born, that are just
they're being stored in freezers.
That's insane.
And I promise you,
that's just insane.
Don't think that if you look up any videos of this online, don't be so sure that all these embryos are stored. All right, so let me get to this.
I mean, I don't think people should be allowed to store multiple embryos.
No, this is what they've been doing.
I could see if you cannot give birth, okay?
Well, Kathy, it's not about storing them. The problem is that these places destroy the embryos. And what Alabama, let me get to this audio. What Alabama is saying, embryos,
that they're life and they can't be destroyed.
Embryos are babies. Embryos are humans, and you just can't destroy them.
Well, now they're going to rack them up because they won't be able to destroy them, and they're going to have millions of them.
So for some reason, these Democrats are having meltdowns. So let's play. This is Joy Reid. This is not on her MSNBC show. This is a rant she put on social media.
The United States has a population of north of 327 million people. Why do we need more kids? I mean, your party, Senator Tuberville, is the one screaming that 10 million immigrants, which I don't even know that number even makes any sense because it doesn't, have streamed into the country since Joe Biden has been president, and you're claiming that.
Okay. Now, part of this is, she's talking about population control right out of the 70s, the population bomb and all that nonsense. What Joy Reid's done here, and Sunny Hostin was talking about this on The View on Friday, somehow they've got this idea that white people do the test tube babies, which is not true. It's all people do this, of all ethnicities.
Yeah.
So they think that this is something that white people are doing to have more white babies. It's a bizarre thing.
Too many people, that if more people come into the southern border, this is some sort of crisis because we've got too many people and we've got no more space and we can't afford more people. But now you're saying we need more kids?
Okay. We're not opposed to the illegal invasion of the country because of a population issue. We have millions of people illegally entering the country, and it's a financial burden and crime burden and other things. Let me finish this on the country. It has nothing to do with too many people. It's illegal people coming here causing a lot of problems, which we talk about a lot. I don't have to go through the list now.
Can you explain who's the we and what's the purpose? You're also a senator from the state of Alabama. God help the people there. Are you saying the state of Alabama needs more kids? Why does the state of Alabama need more kids? More kids for what? There was a time when the state of Alabama absolutely needed more kids because, Alabama was a slave state. And the mandate of the planter class in Alabama was for black women to produce more kids because those kids were property. And they could work more kids and make more money on their plantations. Are you saying the state of Alabama needs more kids because you think that those populations will include people who are maybe destitute and desperate enough if you kick out the immigrants like a lot of y'all want to do and you could make them do the work that the migrants are doing now? Because that kind of sounds slavery-ish. Is the state of Alabama the we? And is that the why?
Now I
am so confused.
Well, she is too. Joy Reid's insane. So these embryos, the Republican Party is pro-life. Evangelicals, you get to Republicans in the Bible Belt, which Alabama's a part of the Bible Belt. Mm-hmm. They're strongly pro-life. Okay, so they're saying embryos are babies. Life begins at conception. Conception has happened. These are babies. But Joy Reid, who views everything through this prism of race and slavery, thinks that Alabama wants these babies, these embryos to be born, right, so that Alabama has slaves. She's lost her mind.
That's just insane.
I mean, you're also a white guy. Are you saying the we is white folks need more kids? Is this like a great replacement thing where you're concerned that there's not enough white people in the population versus the growth of the Latino population, the black population, the Asian American population? And so the we is white people need to make white women have more kids, and that's the we, and that's the why? Because it's a little creepy. A little Handmaid's Tale-y, don't you think?
Okay. So
she just threw everything in there. My God.
It's an unhinged, insane rant. Joy Reid here, a couple things. I don't understand how she gets away with what she gets away with. After the Rittenhouse verdict, she went on television with a terrible rant that inspired that Christmas parade killer to run those people over. And she got away with that. Prior to that, when she first got this weekday gig at MSNBC from the weekends, this long list of very anti-gay, homophobic statements that she made came out. And then somehow NBC got Rachel Maddow to come out and approve of her, to endorse her, to wipe away her anti-gay comments and everything.
Yeah.
And now she's talking this way. When you're a broadcaster, you've got to have some sense of responsibility. And Joy Reid, she's on NBC News. I know it's MSNBC, but it's still NBC. The NBC is a brand. It's always been left wing, but NBC News is a brand that is supposed to have some credibility, some responsibility. And what Joy Reid does is peddle racial division, racial hate, and just division in general on her program, which not only is low class, but it's irresponsible for MSNBC to allow someone who's so divisive and causes divisiveness, who's responsible, I believe, in part for that Christmas parade guy in Wisconsin.
I predicted
crimes.
she'll eventually get fired over her racism. But okay, so because I'm just trying to have context here. Before this Alabama ruling, they were destroying embryos then.
Well, they've
right?
been destroying. They destroy embryos all over the country.
So they went to court in Alabama because I don't know anything about
I don't know
this.
I don't know the whole process of how it came to be.
They ruled that they're babies, so they can no longer destroy them in Alabama.
The state of Alabama is making it a law that embryos are babies.
Okay, so it didn't go to court. They're making it a law now.
They're making it a law.
Okay, so you can no longer, if you're in Alabama, destroy embryos.
Embryos are destroyed all over the country and the world. And
so now in Alabama, you can't.
Well, yeah, see, because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade by the Trump Supreme Court,
each state can decide.
States are now taking action on things involving pro-life issues that either they didn't take before or couldn't take before.
I really don't understand her anger about this. She talks about the illegals, and then she gets into slavery. This is just a woman who just hates white people.
She hates everybody.
And
she's
a bigot, and she latches that anger onto anything she can. She's making no sense here. I don't understand her outrage over this. I'm assuming most embryos are white. I don't know the
probably not in Alabama, because Alabama has a very large minority population.
I don't know. I have no clue if the black population gets into this stuff.
Alabama's a unique state. Most places you're probably right, but in
I would say proportionally overall nationwide, it's predominant. Of course, Sofia Vergara was Spanish, predominantly Caucasian, but we right now are the predominant.
But not in Alabama
group.
Yeah.
So whatever. I don't think it's a racial thing at all. But she makes everything about race. And I don't know why she was talking about slavery and how these are going to become slaves. That is not the issue here. The issue but that's the issue for her, because that's all she thinks about and cares about is hate on whitey.
This is the thing she's
a sad woman
with Joy Reid. Okay, obviously Joy Reid's a bigot. Okay,
obviously.
But what happens with people like Joy Reid? And I've seen this happen.
What got her so upset over this?
I've seen this happen with people my entire career in broadcasters. Okay, as a broadcaster, and this is something that I tune out and stay away from. Whenever you're a broadcaster, people always want to tell you what you should be talking about. Right? You probably hear people say this to me all the time. You should talk about this. You should talk about that. This is all you hear. And what happens with a lot of broadcasters like Joy Reid is they get this circle of people that they think are their friends around them, who work on them to take positions and say things and talk about things. So
I promise you, her circle is not very diverse.
No, these insane rants that she goes on occasion, like this one, although it's more than just occasion, it's a pretty regular occurrence. She has this entourage around her.
Yes.
That tell her that she's brilliant, and you're doing these great things.
Probably before she had this little rant on social media on her phone, she probably just got off the phone with somebody that got her all worked
exactly.
up.
So I don't let people get in my head or my ear like that. And I know a lot of you guys that are listeners, people are always DMing me. Even you should talk about this. You should talk about that. You can't let people get in your head to tell you what to do, because those people don't they don't have your best interest in mind, and they have agendas. So she's surrounded by these activists that have her. I'm not saying she doesn't believe this stuff, but you know how celebrities have entourages around them and they lose perspective because the entourages tell them how great they are and how important it's like when Taylor Swift's boyfriend in that press conference, they said, why are people giving him a hard time? People are jealous of what we represent. They don't represent anything. But in his circle, they have this entourage that tells them they're representing something. And that's what happens to people like Joy Reid. But I'm here to tell you this. Joy Reid has gone over the line so many times and without any repercussions. So what happens with someone like that is they continue to push, and eventually, sadly, she's going to do something that gets her knocked off the air. Like that. Remember that one guy years ago, Martin Bashir? He was famous because he did that big interview with Princess Diana years ago. He was on MSNBC, and I don't want to say what he said because it was so terrible, but he said these terrible things of what should be done to Sarah Palin. And it was so disgusting what he said on the air. I mean, I couldn't believe they took him off the air immediately. And she's going to have this happen to her eventually.
Well, the thing with Joy Reid, her first complaint, which was stupid, was that this congressman or whatever, who's obviously, she says, a white guy, conservative, said these I guess he said something about how the embryos are life. I don't know what he said, but it upset her. And she's comparing embryos to the illegals. So she was saying to him, if these embryos matter and they're allowed to be here, then why aren't the illegals allowed to be here? I really don't understand. Okay,
doesn't make sense.
The embryos aren't actually walking around living and sucking off the government.
Americans. They're Americans.
Yeah, but they're not alive. Here. They're not like living amongst.
I know what you're saying.
They're not this. You can't compare an embryo that's in a tube, frozen, to a living person that's walking around.
That's what they're doing in Alabama. They're saying that they're people. You're not understanding. She's
comparing illegals to those embryos. She's saying, well, if these embryos are important and can be here and take up space, why can't the illegals be here?
The answer
they're not the same thing at all.
The answer to that, Joy Reid, is that these embryos are American embryos that have a right to be here. Right. They were conceived here.
Her whole rant was so stupid.
The illegals don't have a right to be here.
Right, exactly.
Okay, they don't have a right to be here.
This is how a liberal thinks when their head is so far up their own ass. I mean, this is a Harvard-educated woman, which means nothing to me. Big deal.
What was her major? Basket weaving?
Exactly. But she is not intelligent. And you're right. She has become so insular with her little group of women. And we can all guess what that's like. And they just sit around and bash certain people all day long and get themselves all worked up. And she's in that group in New York and living in a fancy place and in the media. She's very isolated now, and out of touch. And she's clearly very angry and just doesn't. She sees these embryos as white, and she just doesn't like white people. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Now, I want to tell you guys the free shipping offer at mypillow.com with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, continues. Now, I don't know when that is going to end, and it will end, and it will end without notice, okay? So, Mike Lindell, they're trying to do to Mike Lindell what they've done to Trump. They're trying to financially destroy him, okay? This $5 million judgment against him last week is like the smallest judgment against him he's had. The other ones have been much larger. And he's offering free shipping with our promo code Kane, Kane, site-wide at mypillow.com. No matter what you buy, no matter how large, no matter how small the purchase, free shipping. And you also get the special deal. So, for example, the MyPillow 2-inch mattress topper is 50% off with our promo code Kane. Now you get the 50% off the 2-inch mattress topper and free shipping. And that's site-wide. You get the special and free shipping. So support Mike Lindell. And when you use our promo code Kane at checkout, not only are you getting free shipping and great deals, you can save up to 80% off. You're supporting MyPillow, Mike Lindell, but you're also supporting this program and all the content I'm connected to. The podcast, my YouTube channel, the radio show, and everything else. So promo code Kane at checkout at mypillow.com. Kane. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We've just started. We have a lot more to cover. We'll be back right after this.
Have you ever found yourself having a conversation that's unpredictable, but it's entertaining? Rowan and Caitlin did, and they turned their conversations into a podcast. Lunch Break RC, available on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Lunch Break RC is your go-to escape, where they talk about everything. On an upcoming episode, they talk about a flight from New Mexico to Chicago, where a drunk passenger opened the emergency exit window, and passengers had to tackle him. It's a wild ride. You won't want to miss it. They talk about a lot more, too, from AI to Bigfoot, conspiracy theories. There's even episodes where they just have to vent. Each episode is a unique discussion about a different experience, and it feels just like those random yet memorable lunch break chats. New episodes drop Fridays at 5. Add Lunch Break RC with Rowan and Caitlin to your podcast playlist on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Listen in, laugh, ponder, and enjoy the ride. Lunch Break RC with Rowan and Caitlin. Start listening right now. Are you a teenager who wants to unlock their full potential? You can. You just need the right help and guidance. And that's what you will find in the book from author Charles E. Tyler, 10 Mindsets to Embrace for Teenage Success, Happiness, and a Determined Path in Life. Available on Amazon. This must-read and life-changing book is your guide to rocking the teenage years with confidence and clarity. It's filled with real-life, no-nonsense advice. You'll discover how to navigate the twists and turns of adolescence. Have you ever wondered how successful people make it look so so easy? 10 Mindsets to Embrace reveals their secrets. You'll also find interactive exercises that can boost your emotional intelligence, find your zen, and supercharge your self-awareness, and discover the real you. Author Charles E. Tyler's 10 Mindsets to Embrace is a conversation, a guide, and your personal coach. It's perfect for teens who are ready to challenge the norms, make their mark, and become their best selves. And it makes a great gift for parents, teachers, and school counselors to share with their students. 10 Mindsets to Embrace for Teenage Success, Happiness, and a Determined Path in Life is available on Amazon. Order your copy right now and take that first step to the success and happiness that you've dreamed of. How would you like to transform your living space? You can at Tuvrik.com. That's T-O-V-R-I-K. Tuvrik.com is your premier destination for quality living. They have a carefully curated selection of lifestyle essentials that are designed to elevate every aspect of your home. From chic decor to functional furniture, they have it all. Looking for that perfect touch for your kitchen? Maybe an elegant addition to your bathroom? No problem. Tuvrik.com has a huge selection of choices in home decor, kitchen essentials, and those bathroom accessories you've been searching for. You can illuminate your home with their lighting selection and discover the latest in home electronics and advanced tech. Their furniture collection blends style with comfort and can transform any room. And don't forget about your furry family members. Tuvrik.com's pet supplies cater to their needs with love and care. And if you're an outdoor enthusiast, check out their patio, lawn, and garden selections. With fast shipping, easy returns, and a commitment to customer satisfaction, Tuvrik.com ensures a seamless shopping experience. So what are you waiting for? Start shopping right now at Tuvrik.com. Tuvrik, and begin your journey towards a beautiful, functional, and more joyful living space. Tuvrik.com, your premier destination for quality living. Are you living the life that you want to live? Have you tried to find ways to earn extra income, but failed? You're not alone. You just need the right help and guidance. If you would like to learn how to unlock multiple streams of income, then visit CUTT.ly/Change Your Life Now. There you'll find an enticing program with life-changing products, a breakthrough marketing system, and a huge compensation plan. If traditional selling isn't your style, no worries. Simply refer your friends or anyone you know. Then you can sit back and watch the earnings roll in. CUTT.ly/Change Your Life Now. That's CUTT.ly/Change Your Life Now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Now, this is something that is insane what I'm about to share with you. We got two big stories in this segment you will not want to miss. A second of this podcast, but
Well, let me just say one more thing about the Joy Reid thing. Because it's all over Twitter now, and I had a chance to watch it again because I just heard it for the first time today, and I'm trying to figure out the main thing that she said that people are finding upsetting is, why do we need more kids? She has 3 kids, by the way. I Googled it because I wasn't sure.
Oh my goodness, those poor children.
And what is she, Chinese? I mean, is she going to start? And I don't agree with all this reckless embryo stuff, but I'm just saying, for her to say, what do we need more kids? I don't know. I just don't understand her anger. Kathy, and I don't understand. I'm trying to understand her thinking.
You're trying to make sense of
why
a crazy
she's upset
woman.
about this.
You can't. You cannot make sense of a crazy woman.
Yeah, I just can't wrap my head around her anger and why these embryos are deemed children, which I agree with, but they're not being procreated or being put in somebody's body and her saying, why do we need more kids? That's like population control.
That's
kind of
exactly
talk.
right. Well, now listen, I want to get into
liberals
these
are all into.
Next 2 stories. These are huge stories. One is just breaking and developing. The other one we have more information on. I'm going to start with the one that's developing. Okay. And this story here, I heard about this story earlier today, but I wanted to wait until because it's a big story. It's a scary story, but I wanted to wait until I heard it reported by people that I know are credible, okay? Because you got to be careful because, you know, a lot of people put stories out there to try to get you to talk about them, and they're not true. Things like this happen all the time. So Benny Johnson tweeted this just a little while ago, and I take Benny Johnson as a very credible person. So the fact that Benny Johnson retweeted this gives credibility that this is a true story. And I want to share this with you. Now, I did hear this earlier, and I could believe it, but I need a more credible source to report on it before I can go public. Listen to this. Benny Johnson just tweeted just a few minutes ago. A terrorist attack on Tucker Carlson was reportedly prevented when he visited Russia for his interview with Vladimir Putin, and it was allegedly planned by the main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine, leading to the arrest of a man named Vasilev Peter Alex Somethingvich in Moscow, and they got this guy in custody. So I got news for you.
Oh, my goodness.
I believe this story. Obviously, Benny Johnson believes the story, or he would not have retweeted it like this. And, you know, Tucker Carlson, you got to understand, guys.
You know, they're friends.
The Directorate of Ukraine, their intelligence directorate, works with our intelligence community. And if you remember, Tucker Carlson was taken off the air at Fox News because of his January 6th reporting. If you remember, just to go over that, he got all of the January 6th tapes, right, the unedited tapes. They didn't think there was, you know, they believed their own rhetoric. They didn't think there was anything there that he would find. He found stuff. He did one night of reporting, and that was it. It was going to be a week-long event. He did one night. It was showing what happened with the shaman. And, in fact, the guy got out of prison early because of Tucker. Tucker had no new footage the rest of that week, and that's why they let him go, regardless of anything else you hear. They kept all the materials because they were owned by Fox. They thought that he had an ironclad non-compete that would keep him quiet until after the election. They did not realize that Tucker Carlson is still being paid by Fox News, the last I heard still. He has some type of out that allows him to do not-for-profit internet things, and that's how this thing happened on X, Twitter. So the deep state got rid of Tucker from Fox News, not realizing what he'd be able to do. So if this story is true, and I believe it is, Benny Johnson gives credibility to it, it really tells you how terrified they are, not just of Tucker Carlson, but of his reporting in particular. And Tucker Carlson, you know, I know they want to make fun of him at the grocery store and all this stuff, but what Tucker Carlson did over there, everyone has an opinion on the interview. I think he did all right. I think the interview with Putin put in perspective where Putin was coming from on Ukraine, which I think we need to hear that perspective. It doesn't mean that he's right, doesn't mean that he's wrong, but hearing his perspective was important. But if Putin, if Tucker is not reporting news that's turning the world upside down, why was there a hit squad after him put out? And I'll tell you this,
what were they afraid
about
that would
Zelensky.
Get out?
They don't want Putin humanized. And let me tell you, this story is being suppressed by the American media. Zelensky's already killed one American journalist, right? They arrested him, put him in a Ukrainian prison. He died recently. Now this, you know, with Tucker's out. I mean, my goodness. And look what happened with Catherine Herridge last week. The Bidens got her fired. They got all of her confidential sources. So there is a war on American journalism, and the media usually love to cover stories about them, but not when it involves journalists that are doing real journalism. Okay, now the second story.
Catcher just real quick tweeted that the Koch brothers have pulled out their financing for
that's true.
After South Carolina.
Yeah. Now
she still thinks she's winning in her head. For some reason, she's still.
She's a mental patient like Joy Reid.
She said here. A reporter asked her, "Can you name a single state that you can win?" I can name that 70% of Americans don't want Trump or Biden. 40% of Republicans don't want Trump. 60% of Americans think that Trump are too old. Talk about that. I mean, I have never seen somebody just so deluded she's hanging in there because they're hoping Trump's going to go to jail.
Yeah.
And they need somebody to pass the torch to. And that's really what's happening here. And I've finally seen people in articles talk about that, what we've been talking about for weeks. So she has to come out and explain why she is still in the race. And so she's doing this weird, remember she said she was an accountant. She's doing this weird Haley math to justify. But if the Koch brothers are pulling their money and people are going to start pulling her money, she's got nowhere to go.
Well, she's still got the Democrat money. They're Republicans.
Well, that's exactly,
so,
that's crazy.
You know, she may not need them. Now, this next story is huge. FANI Willis, I mean, everything's coming apart with FANI Willis. So a story that came out over the weekend, and there's a news story that I have right now that we'll get to in a moment, but a story that came out over the weekend, not the new one I have now, but another story, is that her gigolo boy toy boyfriend did all the hiring of her staff at the DA's office, which shows that they lied in court. Both Fanny and her boy toy were sworn in under oath in that courtroom last week. So they committed perjury. They've committed perjury. They knowingly lied about the timeline of their connections and relationships. They're in big trouble. And I heard more than one legal expert say that means the entire office is going to have to be removed, including Fanny and the boy toy. They'll have to bring in a new district attorney and a new staff. So that case is gone. Now this is being reported by Breitbart. Listen to this. This is in Breitbart. This is just breaking.
Yeah, this just broke today.
The Biden administration, listen to this, guys. The Biden administration planted a Democrat operative inside a Fulton County office to target Donald Trump. Multiple sources familiar with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office have told this directly to Breitbart. If the Biden, I'm reading from Breitbart here, if the Biden administration planted the operative, as sources are telling Breitbart, it would present a strong argument that the Biden administration was directly involved with this, which is illegal. This is the Biden administration actively working to bring down the leader of the political opposition, all right? Breitbart News granted the sources anonymity to discuss the attorney's office for fear of retribution. The sources have direct knowledge of the environment at the DA's office, which they characterized as corrupt. These are the sources' words. One significant figure is overlooked in the Fulton County scandal concerning Fulton County prosecutor FANI Willis and her lover and prosecutor boy toy Nathan Wade. The sources said Jeff, it's D.I. Santis. Is it Di Santis?
DeSantis.
Like Diana?
Ron DeSantis said his name is DeSantis. Remember Ron DeSantis? This is DeSantis with an I.
Yeah, so
DeSantis.
He's spelling it DiSantis. So Jeff Di Santis.
Well, I'd say DeSantis.
DeSantis. I don't know. Well, he is Fulton County's deputy district attorney with professional experience far greater than the average county employee. Di Santis worked on FANI Willis's 2020 campaign. He was the executive director of the Democrat Party of Georgia. He has extensive knowledge of campaign finance law. He's also the deputy director of compliance for the DNC. He's worked for candidates in 30 states. He's run for a variety of offices. He's worked for presidents, senators, governors, House members, attorney generals, district attorneys, mayors, as well as national party level positions. He served as a campaign manager, media consultant, pollster, press spokesperson, researcher, director, and policy advisor with the DNC and Democrats. So he's obviously overqualified for this. Sources say that Di Santis was colluding with the White House to target Trump. He did this, according to one source telling Breitbart, he's the one. He's the one pulling the strings. He was the one.
Yeah, there always is.
Walled FANI Willis off. He was in every important meeting about the case against Trump in Fulton County.
So she's supposed to be some powerful, independent black woman when she's really got a white guy telling her what to do.
I don't know if he's white or black. I
black.
haven't seen a picture of him, but she's got this man telling her what to do. He is the brainchild behind this. This is what the source tells Breitbart. And this is a direct connection to the White House, citing his deep history and connections to the Democrat Georgia party machine. Sources have told Breitbart News they were 100% certain that Di Santis was the inside man planted in the Fulton County offices by the Biden administration. Di Santis is the one pulling the strings.
He's the link.
A second source said, everybody heard Fanny testify. It's no secret that she's not smart. This is how she sounds and acts every day of the week.
Yeah.
Anyone that has common sense knows that the White House has been involved in this prosecution. Another source told Breitbart this. And he is the guy. Sources speculated that DeSantis was instrumental in selecting grand jurors for the Trump case based on voter registration data. So they were packing the grand jury with this guy. This is all illegal. This is highly criminal. I mean, these are people that are going to be in shackles. Okay, these are very hardcore. These are federal crimes that were committed here.
The problem
federal
is,
crimes.
I agree with you, but the problem is, I don't think they're going to be in shackles. The problem is there's too many people in the deep state that are going to protect them. I'm looking at everything Biden's done. There's so much corruption out there.
Trump's going to be back.
Does anybody get held accountable
in less than a year? Trump's going to be back. And see, this guy here, this DeSantis guy.
Yeah.
Okay. He, as connected as he is, he's not a famous person. These are the kind of guys that do the time. They get in trouble. Okay, because his last name's not Biden. It's not Romney. This is and Breitbart breaking this. This is absolutely amazing. Breitbart has broken a major story here that is a direct connection between they packing the grand jury, FANI Willis's prosecution, and the Biden administration.
But you're not going to see anybody other than Breitbart. You're not going to see anybody in the media look into this or report it or talk about it. Not on Fox, not on CNN, not on any news station are they going to look into this or investigate this or anything. They're just going to ignore it and let it go.
Let them.
But if the roles were reversed and if Trump had somebody doing this, he would be impeached again.
Yeah, well, and
believe me, they would look
if he was doing something like this.
That.
Yeah, I mean this is some hardcore stuff.
So now we know the link and the connection here.
And we got a name, DeSantis, this DeSantis guy.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
D-I. It's D-I Santis, like dice.
Yeah.
That's why I say DeSantis, because, we got Governor DeSantis. Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program, guys. Thank you so much. Your support does help us out a lot. And remember, those of you that are Patreon supporters, go to the Patreon page. There is quite a bit of exclusive material available only to Patreon supporters, including, but not limited to, but including commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes, okay? And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast. So the names I'm going to share with you now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Alice, Richard, Maria in Texas, David, Heather, ActicFox, K-Mac, sorry about that, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, John, Paulette, Carlos, Mike P., Rick, Nick, Wesley, and Macho. These are our top Patreon supporters. If you would like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the description of this and every episode to our Patreon page. You just click that link, and it will walk you through the whole thing. We're going to. I wanted to take a quick break.
Well, before we take a break, I want to mention our MAGA Lions.
Okay.
MightyMagaLion.com, and we have sold about 3/4 of our inventory. So we have sold quite a bit. They've been very, very popular. Yeah. People send us pictures. They love them. But we've got about a quarter left of them Lions, and that's it. We're not reordering them. It's a limited edition Lion. Go to MightyMagaLion.com if you want one. They're so cute, and the more you get a discount, and we ship them right from our house. You get them within 1 to 2 weeks or so. Sometimes we wait till we get a bunch of bulk orders to do them all at once and send them all out. But check it out, MightyMagaLion.com, and once they're sold out, that's it. You will never be able to get them again. Very limited, and like I said, we've sold about 3/4 of our Lions, which we're so excited about, and thank you for everyone who bought one, and we've had nothing but positive feedback from it. Everybody loves them. They're adorable. And I tell you, if you got kids that love Trump, they're good for any age, but if you have kids especially that love Trump, this would be such a great gift. Or if you have a mother or father that's elderly that loves Trump, really anybody who loves Trump would love these. They're cuddly, they're cute, the perfect size, about 10 inches high. They're soft, very well made, and just adorable. You really will love them.
That's right. Now, listen, we're going to take our last break. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to cover, all right? I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Parents, grandparents, and teachers. From author Megan Newton comes a children's book that will become a heartwarming addition to your child's story time. Tractors, Tractors Everywhere. Available on Amazon. In Tractors Everywhere, your little one will be immersed in the serene beauty of farm life through the vibrant pages of this must-read children's book. Filled with charming illustrations and an engaging narrative, Tractors Everywhere invites you and your loved ones to spend a delightful day on the farm, exploring the wonders of nature and the joy of tractors. Every page is a new adventure filled with colorful tractors, friendly farm animals, and even a hidden chicken to find. Tractors Everywhere gives a glimpse into the enchanting world of farm living with lessons of life, joy, and curiosity. Perfect for young readers and families alike. Tractors Everywhere is a gentle reminder of the simple pleasures in life. With a story that flows as smoothly as a tractor in the fields, Tractors Everywhere will become a beloved classic, cherished, and read aloud countless times. Tractors Everywhere from author Megan Newton is available on Amazon. Order your copy today and let the journey begin. Are you tired of the endless search for affordable contact lenses? Well, your search is over. Say hello to LoveMyContacts.com, where premium vision meets unbeatable prices. LoveMyContacts.com isn't just any contact lens retailer. Love My Contacts are powered by real optometrists and vision experts. Yes, that's right. Experts who know eyes and care about yours, ensuring you get the best fit from brands you trust, like AccuView, Bausch & Lomb, Alcon, and CooperVision. And guess what? With LoveMyContacts.com's easy subscription service, forget about running low on contacts ever again. Just set it, forget it, and let your lenses come to you. Don't have your prescription handy? No problem. LoveMyContacts.com will retrieve it from your doctor's office, making your experience as seamless as possible. They have the most popular contacts at the best prices too, like AccuView Oasis, the Infuse, and Dailies. It's time to experience the LoveMyContacts.com difference. Visit the site right now, LoveMyContacts.com, and step into a world where quality meets convenience at prices you'll love. LoveMyContacts.com. Do you feel yourself constantly running and hiding from judgment? Do you fear what others might see if they really looked at you? From the fear of being labeled unintelligent to the dread of being in the spotlight, judgment can feel like a decree that seals our very fate with disapproval. But there is a way to confront this psychological bully head on with the book Overcome Your Fear of Judgment. From the self-help doc, Overcome Your Fear of Judgment will get to the heart of your social anxiety. It will guide you through planting new empowering seeds into your mind. Overcome Your Fear of Judgment will help you battle the feelings of invisibility and the glare of too much attention from your perceived flaws. It's perfect for those who feel compelled to hide from the world and even from themselves. Overcome Your Fear of Judgment is a masterclass in shifting perspectives and transforming mindsets. This book is perfect for teens and adults alike who are struggling with self-consciousness and offers practical, actionable solutions for taking back your power and freeing your mind from the self-erected barriers that are holding you back. Overcome Your Fear of Judgment from the Self-Help Doc is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all major online booksellers. Order your copy right now and unlock the true you. Overcome Your Fear of Judgment from the Self-Help Doc. Attention bargain hunters and savvy shoppers. Your search for high-quality products at unbeatable prices ends at Asset Liquidations. Located in the heart of Warren, Michigan, Asset Liquidations is the premier liquidation powerhouse. Featured in the community news, they're the real deal. Asset Liquidations invite you to explore their treasure trove of returned, excess, and overstocked inventory. Why just buy products when you could invest in assets? Asset Liquidations is where value meets variety. Whether you're a fledgling reseller, a seasoned FBA seller, or simply on the hunt for great deals for your personal use, they've got you covered. From high-value single items to packed pallets and full truckloads of merchandise, there's something for everyone. Not ready for a pallet? No problem. Shop single items at prices that are too good to pass up. up. Are you a small store owner? Their packed pallets are perfect for stocking up and saving big. And for you big players, Asset Liquidations have full truckloads from top retailers that promise to give you the maximum bang for your buck with savings that'll skyrocket your resale business. They ship across the entire United States and Canada and will help fuel small businesses, independent sellers, and bargain enthusiasts with products that offer compounding value. Closeouts, surplus, wholesale, pallets, Asset Liquidations have it all. Don't miss out on this opportunity to turn bargains into profits. Visit them online right now at assetliquidations.org or call them directly 313-338-9660. 313-338-9660. You can also stop in person, located at 24401 Hoover Road in Warren. Customers are welcome in the showroom 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 5, and Saturdays, 11 to 4. Asset Liquidations, where every buy is an investment in your future. AssetLiquidations.org.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I want to play the audio clip. We have Nikki Haley. You were mentioned this in the last segment, Kathy, when they asked her about a state she could win.
By the way, she looks awful. She needs to eat.
She's lost a lot of weight.
I mean, she is a walking skeleton.
She has lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, she looks awful.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is here in Michigan or any of the upcoming states that you are campaigning in, today, which state can you tell us that you can definitively win?
We have 21 states and territories that are getting ready to happen. Why don't we wait and see what happens? We don't have to have a crystal ball and say this is going to happen or that's going to happen. We don't live in Russia. We don't anoint kings. We have elections. Let people vote.
But can you name a single state you can win?
I can name that 70% of Americans don't want Donald Trump or Joe Biden. That's a pretty big number. I can name that 40% of Republicans in all our early states don't want Donald Trump. That's a point that you need to talk about. Those things matter. 60% of Americans think Donald Trump and Joe Biden are too old. Talk about that. Instead of talking about what we think is going to happen, let's talk about what the American people have told us.
Ambassador.
The Marquette poll that shows that Donald Trump can't beat Joe Biden and that I defeat Joe Biden by 18 points.
Whatever.
Where she, if there's a poll that shows she can beat Biden by 18 points, why can't she beat Trump? It makes no sense at all.
That makes zero sense. This is the Nikki math, we'll call it, where it's Nikki logic.
She's not lucid.
She's talking out of her ass. I mean, she really is. She's just talking in circles. She's trying to justify why she's still in the race, and the more she stays in, the worse she looks, and the worse she's going to do. But I remember Jeb Bush and all these guys saying things like this when they were running against Trump and the tortoise and the hare, and she knows she's not going to win this way. She's hanging in there for one reason only. They're telling her he's going to go to jail. He's going to get arrested. He's going to get sent to prison, and you'll be there with some delegates, and we'll hand it over to you. That was their plan with DeSantis, but the problem with DeSantis is nobody liked him, and he polled very badly when he was in Iowa and was doing so poorly. If Nikki Haley had never entered the race, DeSantis would still be in it and be saying the same BS. Mm-hmm. So now all their hopes and dreams. But you're right. If she can't beat Trump, how is she going to beat Biden? Everybody voting for her is a Democrat. I really would love to see a breakdown of, have they ever shown that on the news, of the number of Democrats voting for her as opposed to the number of Republicans or independents. If you guys know that or have an article, put it in the comments. I'd love to see it. Because I really want to know. I'm guessing it's about half of the Democrats and independents are voting for her. So how can she beat Biden if everybody that's voting for her won't vote for her in the general election?
Now,
I mean, she's just a lunatic.
There's a little story out today about the X-Men comics, okay? And this is starting to get picked up, but I just want to correct things. There's a new X-Men comic. X-Men, by the way, is owned by Disney. So the new X-Men cartoon will feature a non-binary character. Here's what it says.
Oh, God.
The report says this: alas, while this ham-fisted change is certainly disappointing, it cannot be said that it is wholly unexpected. I don't know what that sentence means. During a 2023 Marvel live stream event regarding the series, one of the goals with X-Men 97 was to just get this right and really drill down to what I think the X-Men is always going to be about, which is, social acceptance and social justice. So they're going to have this non-binary character.
Oh my God. I tell you, they take the fun out of everything.
Here's
Hollywood.
Here's the thing, okay? This superhero whole genre, right? X-Men, all this stuff is overexposed and is dying out.
That's for sure.
And all this is going to do is help it die out even more. They just had 2 new superhero movies about all women. One of them was with the Don Johnson's daughter.
Dakota Johnson.
Her thing failed. They had another one, superheroes with all girls, an all-girl cast. It failed. They don't
make any good movies anymore at all because they're too worried about social agenda than actually telling a good story. We watch old shows and old movies a lot, and I would say 3/4 of the things we watch would never be made today. Like Chips, we watch Chips every night. Now we're on a Chips thing, and I've been watching The Love Boat, and those are great classic shows. And I love watching those old shows, but they would never be made today. The young people would find something offensive about everything. I mean, it's sexist, it's racist, it's this, it's that. Even like All in the Family, forget about it. There's no good writing anymore because, like you said, all these companies now care about these entertainment companies because they're all being run by gays. That's the main thing, and other people that are social justice warriors. They don't get in a room and say, let's come up with a great story. No, they get in a room and say, okay, how can we represent transgenders? We need to come up. That's their compass that they focus at. That's what they want to center everything around. So the story suffers because everything has to play to that messaging. Back in the day, when they made movies and stuff, there were little things sometimes, little messages you would see in movies. Obviously, with Chips and stuff, they throw in storylines with women's lib once in a while and things like that, or the environment. I understand that, and that's fine. That's nothing new. But when you base a whole movie or TV show around making sure that these people get represented, and that's your main goal, that's why everything sucks now. There's no good TV. There's no good movie. I can't remember the last time there was you saw Oppenheimer. Was that even good? You said that was okay. It
was all right. Yeah, I was surprised.
I can't remember the last time I got excited about a movie.
Let me tell you, I'm a little unclear. It sounds like a show that they're doing. I don't know if it's a show or a comic.
I'm so marveled out.
With this non-binary character. Nobody wants to watch that.
No.
And
nobody cares.
On one of the new Star Trek shows, Star Trek Discovery, a couple years ago, they introduced two non-binary characters. There were a couple. 2 non-binary characters. And it's so bizarre. And the show's going off the air this year.
It's confusing.
People don't want to watch this stuff. So, let these companies make their garbage that no one's going to watch. Ugh. And let the marketplace decide. These companies are losing their shirt
with Brian,
wokeness.
When are they going to learn their lesson? Now,
when they go out of business.
Budweiser has learned their lesson, and other companies, I'm sure, have kind of walked away from this woke stuff. But it's still very rampant in Hollywood. And like I said, this is why. I mean, do you see the way these guy actors dress now? They literally dress like women. And I'm sure some of these guys are gay, but so what? Did Rock Hudson go around looking like a girl?
No.
And he was
well, not in public, at least.
Yeah, well, he dressed nice and, but he was definitely a gay man. I mean, most of the people in Hollywood, the guys, a lot of them are gay, I get it, but they still dress nice and look like men. And now with this blurring of the lines and this non-binary, I don't pay attention too much to it. But when I see on Twitter or social media, like these award shows, sometimes the men look more feminine than the women. I don't understand it. I don't like it. Why can't a guy just wear a nice tuxedo and a nice suit? Why does he have to go and wear a blouse with a skirt?
It's such an interesting thing with this non-binary character. After everything Disney has gone through the last 2 or 3 years since that Zoom meeting leaked out a couple years ago, and thanks to, they still haven't learned. They're still doubling down and quadrupling down.
Well, it's who's running the company, that's why.
But when it gets down to it, eventually bills have to be paid and money has to be made.
I don't know. They seem to not learn that.
And if they keep putting out movies and television shows with these weird characters and storylines that nobody wants to watch, eventually, the way the capitalist system works, the market will correct itself. But I believe when Trump is reelected, a lot of this stuff is going to disappear because the leadership of the country sets the tone for a lot of things that go on in the country. And this Obama-Biden administration we have now that has a freak show of staff members is inspiring a lot of this nonsense that we see and hear about. Now, listen, I want to tell you guys, I want to thank everyone for your support of the program. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Our views are going way up on YouTube.
Yeah, they are. And if you don't already follow me on YouTube, please do. Brian Craig Show on YouTube. I live stream every day on YouTube. I do weekend shows live streaming on YouTube where I take live calls just like I do during the week. And I also upload a lot of other content, including the podcast, to our YouTube channel.
And we have a Facebook group, Brian Craig Show, that's growing. And there's a constant 24-hour chat in there. You can go in and chat with people and say hi and everything like that. So join the Facebook group, Brian Craig Show. That's also free to do, and join it. And we want to grow that group. And you can post comments to things I put up there, and it's a lot of fun.
It sure is. All right, well, listen, we're out of time for today, but we will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.